Hi Livewires, how are you all doing? Good news, hairdressers are back open. I wonder whether you've managed to get an appointment yet or not. I have not. Soon, hopefully. There are lots of different types of people in our world, aren't there? We've got the rich people who've got loads of stuff. Maybe you know someone who's always got the latest gadgets, the iPad, the iPhone, a drone, a smartwatch, or maybe they've always got amazing holidays planned with their family. What about the people who don't have very much? Maybe they don't have the latest tech. Maybe they've been a bit left behind doing their schoolwork at home because they don't have a printer or the internet. Or maybe sometimes they need to use a food bank to help them get through the week. It might not be money that makes you different. Maybe your skin's a different colour. Or maybe your family's a different shape or size to other people's. Or maybe you're a bit different because of what you believe. You might be a different religion from other people. Maybe you don't believe in God at all. Whatever makes you different from other people, there is good news for you, whoever you are watching this video, because Jesus has come for people just like you. Yes, just like you. We're in the next section of the book of Acts in the Bible, Acts chapter 16, if you want to follow along at home. And we see how God's message is spreading further and further. And today it reaches a city called Philippi, and it transforms 3 very different types of people. Number 1, we've got Lydia, the rich and religious. Number 2, we've got a slave girl who's been possessed by a demon. And number 3, we've got a man who works in a prison, the Philippian jailer. First up, Lydia. Now, do you remember Paul, who also used to be called Saul? Well, that's the same Paul that used to hate Christians. And to catch you up, he's now a Christian. He loves Jesus. And he and his friend have come to Philippi, and they've started talking to this group of women and telling them about Jesus, who died so we can be forgiven, who came back from the dead so we can live forever, and how Jesus sent his Holy Spirit so we can follow him as King. And in that group of women they were talking to was Lydia, a rich businesswoman, a dealer of purple cloth. Got my purple on today. She was already religious, she believed in God. And now, after hearing what Paul and Silas had got to tell her, she put her trust in Jesus. She responded to Paul's message about Jesus and she was baptized. Next up, number 2, we've got the slave girl. We're told she had an evil spirit in her which could help her tell the future. And her slave owner, people that owned her, they made a lot of money from this girl and her ability to predict the future. Day after day, this girl kept telling people that Paul and Silas were servants of God, which of course they were, but Paul got really annoyed with her, and day after day she kept saying, these men are servants of God. So Paul commanded this evil spirit to come out of her. He said, by the power of Jesus, come out of her. And guess what? The evil spirit was gone. The slave girl was free from it. But now she couldn't make any money for her slave owners, and they got so angry. They had Paul and Silas beat up and thrown into jail. And that's where we meet person number 3. And stay with me, because what happens here is amazing. So the jailer, he had Paul and Silas put in jail, and their feet were in chains, and it was really dark. I wonder what you would do if you were in prison. Would you cry? Would you pray? Would you shout at each other? Do you know what they did? They sang. They sang songs to God. How funny must that have looked? All the other prisoners could hear them singing. And it was just about midnight, and they were still singing. They were still going when suddenly an earthquake hit. It shook the foundations of the prison, and all the doors of the prison flew open, and everyone's chains came loose. If you were the prisoner, what would you do? Would you run free? Probably. Well, if you were the jailer and all your prisoners had just escaped, it was bad news for you, because you were responsible for making sure they all stayed locked up. And all of a sudden, that's it, the doors are open, their chains are free. And that meant you were toast. The punishment for losing your prisoners was death. So the Philippian jailer, he was in big trouble. He thought, I better get it over with. He drew his sword and he was about to kill himself when Paul shouted, "Don't kill yourself, we're all still here." Phew, that was a close one. He flicked the lights back on just to check. And what do you know? They were all still there. He must have been so relieved. Absolutely amazed. He fell before Paul and Silas and said, "What must I do to be saved?" What a question. And what's the answer? You must know by now. The only way to be saved is to trust in Jesus. Jesus died so that you can be forgiven. Jesus came back to life so that you can live forever. Jesus sent his Holy Spirit so that we can follow him as King. Simple. And that's what the jailer did. He put his trust in Jesus. And he and his whole family, his whole household, they were baptized. He was so filled with joy that Jesus had saved him. Jesus had saved the Philippian jailer. Jesus had saved the slave girl. And Jesus had saved the rich and religious businesswoman Lydia. Jesus saved and transformed all these people. It's incredible, isn't it? I wonder though, have you asked that question yet? The same one the jailer did. What must I do to be saved? You know the answer though, don't you? Trust in Jesus. Jesus died so that we can be forgiven. Jesus came back to life so that we can live forever. And Jesus sent his Holy Spirit to help us follow him as King. Jesus didn't just come for religious people. Jesus didn't just come for rich people. Jesus died to save all types of people. Rich, poor, black, white, religious, not religious, good, bad. Anyone can come to Jesus. Jesus died so all types of people can be forgiven. He came back to life so all types of people can live with him forever. And he sent his Holy Spirit to transform all types of people and help them follow him as King. I'll see you soon, Livewires. Bye.